Hello everybody, this is Carol from Friendly Quail and I'm here doing a video of working on pages on this little golden book. If you've never been here before, welcome. If you're one of my regulars, I can't even talk, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. And it's so much more fun knowing that I can talk and someone will actually listen to it. So that's fun. So the last video I did the cover, finished the cover for I Can Fly, which is only for me. And when I listened back to it afterwards, I realized I stopped saying something in mid-sentence. My mind went squirrel. And what I was talking about at that time, and I'm just going to say it now because I'm working on pages, is I went through I have a bunch of pages that I prepared for things and then had to take them out because my signatures got too big. So I thought, well, I'm going to see if I can use some of them up in here, especially since it's just for me. And I pulled some of those out and I'm using them in here. But what I need to do is I need to make these pages smaller, and I did one. Here are the rest of them. I did one of them to make sure that I was doing it the right size. So this is a little bit smaller than maybe I would have needed, but they'll be poofy, so it'll come out further. So that's what I'm going to do. And because I need about 5.5 and these are 6.5, I have to take about an inch off. So what I did first is I folded this over and I glued it. That way, well, the only other way I could have done this is if I cut this off and then re-put them back together again. And so in the little golden book parts, there's only a few pages. Well, there's a total of 6. I instead am folding this over. I will put a piece of trim or ribbon or something over this when I am decorating it. And this is glued down, so I'm going to show you how I do that. And then I just cut off a little extra on this side, because if I took it all off, I would lose a lot of this. I also cut it down just slightly, like a 1/4 inch, so that it's got like an 1/8 inch on each side for my signatures, that it doesn't accidentally stick out over the top. So I am going to put this aside for now, and I'm going to take care of these pages. So I also have some of these that were from a book, and I'm also going to be turning this over. This was from a math book, and I'm going to make those smaller as well, so that they'll be smaller than this, but that this here is not sticking out, and I would have had to cut them down. So I'm just going to do that for these as well. So when I do that, I fold it over, and then I go in, and I'll just do these two first. And I put glue inside of here. I'm kind of avoiding the holes right now. Okay. And then I'm going to fold that in so that now the page, that part is glued together. And then I go and I take glue. Again, I'm avoiding the holes. And I am going to fold that over. Now, if you don't like what that looks like, I'm probably just going to leave it, because I think you can see it just gives it a more grungy look. So that page is done. And I'm going to do another one. I'm going to fold that over here. And this is a little bit similar to what I'm going to do with the Golden Book pages. So, I hope everyone is doing well. I have some things going on. Today we're going to a sandcastle festival at Siesta Key. And we haven't been before. And I'm making a video. I had to stop and tell my husband to be quiet. I told him I was going to make a video, but he already forgot. He was doing something and kicked me out of the house. Yeah, I don't know. He just went outside my window and said to the neighbor she was doing something and she chased me out of the house. Yes, I did. Okay. This isn't going to be a really long video, so I don't get it. So those two are done. Okay. Now I'm also going to do these. So again, I'm going to fold this over. Now you can fold it. Well, I got two of them here. That's why you number it, because you have to take them apart. I'm going to fold this over, and whether I do it this way or this way, yeah, I think I'll do it this way. That way I can put, it doesn't matter which way you do it. So I'm going to go in here again, and in between here, I'm going to put the glue. Now, I am losing a little bit of the picture, but guess what? That was the part that you couldn't see in the first place, because it was inside the where the hinge was. The staples were there, so you're not losing any more than they had lost in the first place. And then I'm going to do this. I am going to miss a little chick, but there's still two there. Okay. Now I do still need to take some off, the length and the width, but I'll do all those at once. So let's go back, and I will fold this over. I don't think it matters which way you do it, because you're still getting that extra thickness in there. But these are big signatures, so it won't matter. And I would have got extra in there anyway, because I would have had to reinforce it. So there we go for that. And here we go for this. Now this is just the way I do it. I don't know how other people do it. I think, you know, there's various ways that people take care of that extra width. If you cut off, you don't have to take as much off. If you leave the hinge on here and just leave the whole book cover. But when I did that, I found that that dent from the old hinge, it makes this really floppy, and it's not good. I've done some like that, and I didn't like how they turned out. Okay. This is, got that one done. And I've got 3 more. I'm going to quickly take care of those. I think because of this, I'm going to do it this way this time, so I don't have to cover up anything on that music. Okay. All right. Okay, so I started telling you we're going to this festival, and we're going with some friends, and we're not going until the middle of the afternoon. They started making the sandcastles on Thursday, so now they're pretty much done, and so we're going to see them completed. And then we're going later because they have all kinds of food vendor trucks and things like that, and we are going to eat there. And at night they're lighting up the sandcastles with colored lights, and they've never done that before. Yeah, I'm going to put it this way because I think they're so cute. Okay, so they've never lit them up like that before. So we will get to see that. And then our friends will probably come in when we get back to our house. They were our neighbors in the last place we lived. So I haven't seen them for a while. And I'm thinking, what else? Since I talked to you, I had a mammogram recently, and I got a call back that I have to come in for some further testing. So I'm going to have a second mammogram and an ultrasound, see what's going on. They had some, they called it, and I had never heard of this before, asymmetry. They saw asymmetry, which means that there was something on one side that wasn't on the other. They were going to get my last mammogram so they could compare it. And they'll do the ultrasound, because then that will put that one that way too. They'll have something to compare it to, and we'll see what happens. And I'm not too worried because I looked it up, and there's only a 9% chance that it's cancer. So I'm just being positive and saying it's not. They just noticed a denseness. It could have just been a fold of skin that got, something that got folded over or something. So I'm going to be positive and say that's what, it's not cancer, it's something else like that. Okay. And that will take care of that. And I got in as soon as I can, which is next week, because for both the tests they needed a block of time. So I'll be doing that next week. But like I said, I'm not going to worry about it. Besides, worrying doesn't ever help. It is what it is. And you can't, I'm going to bring this over now. You can't, yeah, I made it 5.5. And I might have to take off a little bit more, because if this is in the middle, when you have fat signatures, sometimes you need to take off a little bit more, but you'll still see the pillows and everything on there. And I'm going to take the other part off the top. I'm going to open this up. Sorry about that. Okay. Right now it's 8. I'm going to make it 7 1/4. So it's just like an 1/8 inch off the top and the side. I'm taking off about 1/4 inch, which will give me an 1/8 inch on the top and the bottom. So that one's done. Okay, first I'll make this 5 1/2 this way. Most of them I don't take anything off really. Here's a little bird or something. Most of them you're not taking very much off. And a little bit, and I can take that off the top as well. 7 3/4. And the pages are not all the same size. I mean, they're close to the same size, but they're not all the same size. Because I folded over more of this on some of them too. Okay, and I think if I take it off the top, it shouldn't be a problem. Sometimes I take it off the bottom. You just have to look at what your pages look like and go from there. So let's see, what else? What else is going on? I cleaned out my filing cabinet, not my crafting one, but for the household. And I have a stack of paper that's like 1 foot high that I have to shred. So I started shredding yesterday, but I can't do it all at once. Our little shredder can't even take it. It gets too hot. And it says no more, and it shuts off. Okay. So I do a little bit every day, and then I have to empty it out because it's not that big. And so I'm putting it in a bag. Okay, so those pages are finished. Now, unless I have to take a little bit off if it's in the middle or something. Okay, recycle. Now, this is where it's really important that you have the page numbers in the right order, so that when you put them in the book, they're right. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. Now, I have a couple of other things I need to cut down in here yet that I decided to put in, but the first one is going to be my opening page. So that one, fine. It's that isn't the first page. Where did I put it? Because it has the beginning of the book on it. Okay, here it is. I knew that wasn't right. See, number 1. Okay, now somewhere in the signature, I have to put the next one. And I don't want to go too far. I have quite a few pages in each signature. I'm thinking right here. So that means now I have page 1 and 2 right up here. 1, 2. Here's 3, 4. These are just sitting here. Sometimes I like to put this one in the middle. So you have 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I still have to do this, to do those, make them smaller. But then as I go along, so we just had 8, and then you get to the next one, it's 9, 10, and then the last one is 11, 12. So you make sure that you've got them in the correct way. Now I will have to adjust some of these pages and make them smaller, because when you have a fat signature, that's what happens. Even if I put them in as far as I can, you still have some that stick out. So I will end up having to put those down, and I need to put these pages into that signature again. So I'm going to do that later. Now I have 3 signatures, and the middle signature does not have any, will not have any of the golden book in it. So I'm using some old pages and things, like I said, and I pulled things out. And this one will just be all pages. There won't be any golden book in it, because there's only 2 signatures in a little golden book. So now here is where I'm going to be putting in my next part. So now we're at 13, 14. Again, I have to make some of these pages smaller. 15, 16. So the whole story is intact. That one had these, some of these have to be cut down. And 17, 18, 19, 20. So then further along in the book you get, some of these are just sitting in here too. We have, this was 20, so then we have 21, 22, and 23, 24. So I'm going to leave it off there for today, and I'm going to be adding some pages in, and I might move around where I put those when I add my other pages in, and we'll see what happens. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, do something you love every day, because that's the secret to happiness. And I'll see you soon. This is Carol from Friendly Quail. Bye!